Hey guys, welcome to OCD Recovery. I wanted to talk about going back to basics, and I think it's a very important topic to cover in cases of when we're feeling either stuck or when we're feeling like there's something wrong and you don't know exactly quite what it is. And there's just this lingering feeling. It doesn't have to be something super chronic, or it doesn't have to be something that's like eating at you. It can just be something as straightforward as, yeah, there's a feeling I have inside, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to overcome it, right? So I think it's very important to in the moment feel like there's some kind of drastic change that you need to make, or some kind of like really uh, like big move that you have to make in order to get out of that. And we're then searching for new tools and new information and new strategies in order to deal with this thing, because it's like, okay, I've employed like other strategies before in the past and they helped me overcome this, but this feeling is different and this is something else, and I'm trying to get out of it, but I don't know like why am I still having this feeling. And a lot of the times I have to also tell people that like there's no, again, there's nothing more that you need to know, perhaps. And a lot of the times it is that case. You don't need to know anything like new. It's basically just going back through the knowledge and information and the tools you already have, and just rummaging through that and seeing what can come of use, right? So when it comes to, again, OCD, and classically this happens with a situation where fear feels like the most forefront element uh, in the moment. So when I'm talking about having that feeling that something's wrong, maybe it's not chronic or panicky or anything. It doesn't seem that pressing, but there's something there. That's usually that fear thing kicking in most of the time, where the fear and the worry is that if I if I if I'm not able to get a handle or a grip over this, like something that's knocking at my door, then then this feeling will be there forever. I won't be able to get rid of this discomfort, and maybe it's something that I don't like, that I don't know the name of, and maybe I need to figure that out so that I can deal with it in the correct way and be able to proceed further in my life. We're dealing it with it in the correct way. So that fear of not knowing what it is, fear of not knowing what to do about it, being stuck with that feeling not going away, despite your best efforts. That's fear being stuck, essentially. So in that moment, instead of going through a frantic search of looking for some new piece of information or something else that you feel like you need to tap into, go back to your basics, right? What are your basics when you're working on OCD? Your basics are, again, your basics are the books, right? So if you've read through them once, do you need to do maybe like a second revision? Because like, and the reason we highlight the books so much is because it's like trying to, I don't know, it's like trying to become a doctor just by reading your medical books once. You probably have to like consult them over and over again. My dad is a doctor, right? And he's been practicing for 40 years. And some of the main kind of like, kind of like the medical encyclopedia, sometimes he has to refer to that still, even after 40 years, and go back and look at some of the things in there. Um, and that's to do with like, looking at the diagnosis and things like that, and what could be what kind of thing. So sometimes he still does that. And if he was in a position where he's like, I've gone through that enough times now, I don't need to go back to it, it would probably like really affect his practice. But I mean, I think part of the reason why he's a good doctor is exactly because he keeps refreshing his knowledge and keeps going back to the basics. So if you read the books once, maybe there's a chance you need to kind of like revise them and give them a second reading, and see if there's something else that clicks the second time. Second thing is, are there any beliefs that you have not yet looked at? Are there beliefs that you are still avoiding even putting down on paper? Are there any exposures that you're still avoiding? Any, like, at times, and this happened with me as well, like there were certain exposures that almost all my big exposures, in fact, I did all of them, but there was this one that I still didn't want to do. And it just felt really difficult to even get to it. So I was kind of like, I kept putting it off, and I kept it like tucked in a corner because I was like, it's okay, I've done all the other ones, I just don't want to do that one. So if there's anything on that front that maybe you need to do, is there still any lingering avoidance? Are there any lingering compulsions? Are you falling into, I don't know, demotivational, lazy, procrastinating patterns? Maybe is that a thing that's happening with you? And if you also feel like you've done all of that, if you feel like you've covered all your ground, literally there's like nothing else for you, nothing new for you to do. You've done all the things that I've pointed out. Then maybe it's just a case of like waiting it out, and that's all. And that's one of the things that people don't want to do, right? They don't want to wait it out. They want to get some kind of like solution to it. They want something that can make that lingering feeling go away. But like, and when we say this as well, when someone comes in to start working on their OCD recovery journey, like, you can be working on things for very consistently within the first 6 months. You do everything that every homework that you have been assigned, like, you do everything, and you make a lot of progress, of course, but there's one factor that you cannot account for and you cannot predict, is just your brain catching up to everything. Because you can make a lot of the progress, and it can push you in a good direction, but you also have to be patient with your brain and your nervous system to kind of like catch up to all the big changes that you've made in your life. Because if you're trying to rush that process, and if you're trying to make that happen as quickly as possible, and kind of like push really hard, it's not going to come that soon. You can't force your brain to be like, okay, calm down, okay, like, get comfortable, okay, accept, don't be afraid of this, don't be anxious about this. Like, you can't force it. You can influence it, but then there's also only a certain amount of influence that you can exert in a given moment. I think the classic example for me was with mental compulsions, because mental compulsions were like the very last piece of OCD to kind of like go for me, because at that point I'd done all my reading, all my disputing, all my exposures, cut out all my compulsions, like my life structure was overall really good, like I had done everything, but the mental chatter was still there, and I think it took like a good probably like 3, 4, 5. I mean, I wasn't really tracking my time, so I'm not sure exactly how long it took, but I'm pretty sure it was a few months of me just waiting it out and not trying to force my mental chatter away, or not trying to, like, I don't know, calm it down or distract myself or do anything like that. I just had to wait it out, and eventually it faded away. I'm pretty sure if I had sat down to be on its agenda, to be like, okay, I need to figure out what to do about this mental chatter, because it's been 2 months and the mental chatter is still there. That means I'm still not recovered. That means I still need to do something. I think I probably would have fueled that fire even more, and I probably would have taken even longer for that mental chatter to go away. So part of it was also then recognizing that I've done everything I needed to do, and there's nothing else I can in that moment do other than to carry on and lean into this new life I had built for myself of non-avoidance and not giving into demotivation and laziness, and getting on with things as best as I can, and that's all. Not looking for a fix, not watching YouTube videos to be like, okay, what do I do next? Just literally living my life and seeing where it goes. And I mean, of course, if even after like those 3, 4, 5 months, if I was still experiencing a lot of anxiety, maybe then I would have been like, okay, let me try to just have another look at it and just have a check-in and see where I need to go with this. But it kind of like faded out on its own. So I mean, it depends on where you are exactly on the journey, and what is it that you need to do, or what is it that needs still to be covered, or maybe there's nothing that needs to be covered. Like I said, maybe it's just that one factor of waiting it out. But going back to the basics of that knowledge, and going back to the basics of what you've done, is an important step in that phase of recovery where you feel like you've done a lot, but there's that lingering discomfort and like not knowing exactly what to do about it. So instead of looking for big drastic measures and changes, in summary, no, just go back to the bank of knowledge you already have, and chances are, most of the time, chances are you'll find your answer over there already. So I hope this video helps you, and I hope this like sheds some light on your particular issue at this point, and yeah, and we can see where we go with that. If you have any questions, please pop them down below. If you want me to cover any specific topic in depth, let me know. I can do that. If you want to know more about my contamination OCD journey, I can do that. I can do anything basically. Wow, that sounds a bit like, yeah, I'm not playing myself up to be something, but yeah, that sounded something like I don't know what. But let me know what you want me to cover, and I'll try my best to cover it in whatever way I can. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye.